be such a fun video because it's getting me excited for autumn. If you guys are also like interested in why I'm wearing a camp vibe outfit, it's because my birthday is literally tomorrow and I'm filming this like right before we go to the little like farmhouse. But when I think of the farmhouse, I think of fall vibes. So I'm gonna give you guys a bunch of book recommendations for fall. And if you guys are in the autumn mood, then you guys will definitely be excited to see all of these, like literally. There's so many, so make sure you subscribe and let's just get into this video. I have lots of different book recs. I'm gonna start with the autumn romances and then get into like the thriller vibes, fantasy, and then I'm gonna share contemporary fiction. I wanna give a little bit of a taste of each thing. So I'm gonna start with that and then I'll get into my TBR of like what I wanna read and haven't read yet. These are the books that I have read, and these are 3 romance books that I think are perfect, absolutely perfect for autumn. The first one is Behind the Scenes by Christina C. Jones. This book gives the vibe of like Love Jones, of that like old school love type of vibe. It is so good, and I feel like a lot of people like, I don't know, I've heard people talk about this book, but I feel like it doesn't get nearly enough hype, and maybe because this author like isn't in Barnes, she's an independent author, but her books are so good and they give that old school love type of vibe. This is a story about a girl who's like an assistant. And while she's an assistant, she ends up getting this job for this guy that is I think he's like a movie producer. So she ends up like working for him, but they had hooked up already. Like prior to her working for him, they like had a one-night stand. And after that one-night stand, they like really hit it off, but they were just like, we're gonna go our own way. And then she ends up getting this job and she's like, well, I'm not gonna turn it down just because of this. And so they're kind of working together, but there's a ton of tension because they obviously have this one-night stand and there's lots of like feelings behind that, but he's a producer of the show, and he doesn't want that to like, you know, mess up his show, and she doesn't want that to mess up like her career that she's trying to build. Again, it's very much like Love Jones, like old school, like black love type of vibe. I feel like you'll really like this if you like that type of story. And another book that I have to share, that I feel like I always share, is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is the epitome of cozy, of like true love, of nostalgia. I love this book so much. I read it every single year, and I feel like in the fall, like autumn season is the perfect time to read it. You can see on the front, there's like a cozy little cabin, there's letters, there's coffee, there's books, there's trees. It's so cute. These 2 like so cute couple, not couple initially, but like they do end up getting together. These 2, this girl and this guy, they end up meeting up every year, and they spend their summers together, but they also like go to this cabin just like as a family. And while they're there, they end up like just really falling deeply in love for each other. You also see throughout the school year how they handle like the long distance with each other. And then it fast forwards to the future and you don't really know what happened to pull them apart. It is one of the most nostalgic, beautiful second chance romances I think that I've ever read in my entire life. Again, I read this every single year. This was a 5-star read for me. I also think this is a great book for new readers. It's a super easy read. It's one of those dynamic love stories that you'll like never forget. Macy and Elliot will forever be imprinted on my heart, and I love this. It's also a friends to lovers story, second chance romance. If you like those types of things, you'll definitely like this book. And then the last romance I have to share is Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola. And I really like this book because it is set in a college, but it's also in the UK, which I feel like you don't see very often. And I really like that because it's just like I don't know, when you see something that's set in a college and like it just takes you back to those fall vibes, like back to school and like getting ready and like all the fall autumn outfits and all the crazy stuff that happens whenever you're in college. You get all of that in this book. This is about Malachi and I forget the other girl's name, Kiki. And Kiki has this radio show where she pretty much like bashes this guy Malachi. She bashes any guy that she deems as like a guy who's like not treating women right. And on that podcast, like radio show, she gives a ton of advice to women. While she's on that show, people like really grow to love her, like as just, you know, someone who they can trust. She ends up meeting Malachi and she's like, well, he's actually not like as bad as I thought he was, and like kind of starts to have feelings for him. So people end up finding out about her and like her feelings, and she's kind of trying to like keep those hidden, but she's just like hanging around Malachi a lot. So people are like, are you trying to keep this guy from us, and that's why you were telling us that he's like not a good guy? So they end up fake dating so that pretty much she can save her reputation, but also he kind of gets something out of it as well. So it's just a really good romance, and I feel like it's one that is perfect for the autumn season. And then the next 3 books that I have are 3 thrillers. These 3 thrillers are perfect, absolutely perfect for autumn. These now are more like, they're not like, I guess I'd say these are more like mystery. Like, I don't want to say thriller, because that I don't think is like a true representation of what these stories are. Well, I guess there's only 2, because I think I picked up one of the other ones that's like in the fantasy genre, but these 2 are more mysteries. These are both by Black authors. If you guys want like a full thriller video, like perfect thrillers for autumn, let me know and I can definitely share that, because I don't really have any like true thrillers in this stack. These are more of like the cozy reads, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like when I think of cozy, I don't think of someone like getting, you know, like in a book. So the first book, that is like a really good mysteries, Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. If you've never read any of her books, please pick them up. She's a young adult writer, but her books can definitely be read by adults, and they talk about really like deep themes that I think are so important. It's about this girl who she ends up like losing her best friend, like, and by losing her I mean like she just does not come back to school, and so she's like, what the heck happened to her? But no one at the school is looking out for her. They're just like, maybe she's on vacation, like maybe she's with her family, and she's like, no, my best friend wouldn't just like fall off the face of the earth and never say anything to me. So the whole story is about this girl trying to figure out where her best friend is, and she tries to like band together people to help her figure it out. This is a good book, but also the ending is just like, there will be so many points in this book where you are left on the edge of your seat. There's one point in this book where I literally was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I was just shaking, and I ended up picking up more books by this author because her writing is just so gripping. And another book that's a great mystery that's like more cozy vibes is Everyone's Thinking It. This is a story about like, it's about a girl, but it's also about a bunch of different people. So someone in the school is passing around pictures, and they're like little Polaroids, and on the back of each Polaroid there's like a secret about someone in the school that they like didn't want shared. So they end up trying to figure out like who is, like these 2 characters end up trying to figure out who is doing that, like who's giving out the Polaroids and why are they trying to tell everyone secrets and like get everyone to be just like outed. And it's a really good story. If you like Ace of Spades, I feel like this is a good one. And I tried to think of books that aren't super hyped up, or maybe just like you won't see in a lot of these like fall recommendation videos, because I feel like sometimes they can get so like overdone, where people will say like the same books over and over again. So I wanted to share like some newer recs, and I feel like a lot of people haven't talked about that story. Now let's get into like the fantasy / dystopian types of books. So these are 2 books that I think are great for this season, and the first one is Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. This is such an underrated book. If you like the show Squid Games, you have to read this book. I kid you not. Like, if you watched that show and just ate it up and you wanted more, read this, because it's so similar to that. It's about these games that happen every single year, and they kind of take people to like elite status, and a lot of the time the people who do the games are already like very rich, and they're just using that as a way to get like even more rich. This girl, she ends up getting an invitation to the games, and she's like not rich at all, but she's like, this could really help my family if I win the games, because I can get, you know, so much money. I cannot tell you how much I love this book. Rated this 4.5 out of 5 stars. And honestly, now that I think back on it, it's like, is it a 5-star read? Because it was just so unique. It was so unique. It was so good. I loved every second of it. I felt like I was on the edge of my seat while I was trying to figure out what happened. Again, it's not like fantasy, but it's more like dystopian, because everything happens in a real world setting, but like obviously we're not having like Squid Games like type vibes in real life, so it's like more dystopian. But the games that they have are so thrilling. Like, you will be so surprised when you're reading them, because they're so, I don't know how the author even came up with the games that they have in this book. And then another book that I think a lot of people will probably recommend, and I just have to recommend because I feel like it's perfect for this season, is Fourth Wing. I have to recommend this because this is one of my first fantasy books that I ever read, and I still think about it to this day. I read it in 24 hours, and I'm not a fantasy girly at all. This book is like almost 500 pages. I think it's like 501 or like something right there, like 487 or 497 or something like that. Read it in 24 hours. There's so much dialogue. There's so much stuff that happens that you'll just be like, you won't want to put it down. And this is about a girl who her entire life she has been training to be a scribe, which is someone who pretty much will document like all the trials that the like dragon riders will have. And she's been training for that her whole life. Her mom is a general, and it's like, hey, you know what? You've been training for this your whole life, but actually I want you to be a dragon rider instead. And she's like, I have not been training for that. Like, I'm literally not ready. Like, there's no way I can do that. And her sister, who also is a dragon rider, like someone who literally rides dragons, was like, my sister, there's no way she's gonna be able to do that. So her mom's like, yes, she will. I'm the general. What I say goes. So she has to completely like revamp how she planned her future to be, and she has to try not to die while she's going through trials, while she's learning to ride on these dragons, and she's learning to fight for her life, fight for just like their, not like their country, but like their whatever they call it, like their fight for their land and their area. It is just a really good book. And I got the second book the day that it came out because I was so excited to read it. So that is the fantasy, the like mystery vibes, and then the romances. And the contemporary fiction that I have to share is My Dark Vanessa. This book made me cry, and it's one of my like top reads of the year. I love this book. I feel it's so powerful because the story is told through the lens of a girl who she is groomed by her teacher. So you see like what happens throughout the school year. And I feel like books that are set in school, whether college, high school, whatever, and it's just like told in a calendar year are perfect for like fall and autumn because you get a lot of those same like feelings that you would get whenever like, you know, it's back to school time. And she ends up being groomed by her teacher, and you see her kind of like have all these different feelings of like, is this right? Is this not right? And you see from younger, like childhood age, all the way up until she's an adult when she's still being groomed, but he is also on trial because there have been other girls at the school who've said that he's done the same thing to them. Now she's like so like blinded by like how much he's groomed her over the years that she is more of an apologist for him. So you see what it's like for a victim and how they think and feel and like how it might be to go through something like this. And I feel like this is such a powerful story. This would actually be great to read like in college or something. And then I have some recs on my TBR of like what I want to read. I'm not going to go too deeply into like what these books are about because genuinely I have not read them, but I do have a lot of different recs. So I'm gonna start with the romance books. I think I'm just gonna start with those because they're a little bit like easier to describe, at least for me. And I have 6 right here. I think I have 3 diverse reads, and then I think, or no, 2 diverse reads and 4 books that are like more popular-ish. The first one is Culty, and I'm pretty sure this is a book where the main character ends up like she's been in love with this soccer player, I think her whole life, and then he ends up being, I think, her coach or her boss or something. I'm pretty sure that's what it's about. Again, I don't really like read a ton, like I'll read the back of the book when I buy it, but then after that I kind of like to go into it like not fully knowing what it's about, because if I forget that there's a second chance romance trope, or if I forget that there's like a friends to lovers trope, it's a nice little surprise whenever I see that it's in there. But I think that's what this one is about. And her books are always like a slow burn. I've never read anything of hers, but I'm hoping to read my first book of hers this month. And I love the slow burns, especially in fall. I love really heartfelt romances in fall. Another book that I've heard great things about is Charming as a Verb by Ben Felipe. And this says Henry can charm just about anyone. He's a star debater and popular student at the prestigious Fate Academy, the dutiful first-generation Haitian son, and this trusted dog walker for his wealthy New York City neighbors. But his easy smile masks a burning ambition to attend his dream college, Columbia University. There is only one person who seems immune to Henry's charms, his intense classmate and neighbor, Corinne Troy. When she uncovers Henry Henry's less than honest dog walking scheme, she blackmails him into helping her change her image at school. Henry agrees, seeing a potential upside for himself. Soon, what started as mutual hustle turns into something more surprising than either of them ever bargained for. And I've heard that this is a incredible story, and it's set in New York City, which I feel like those are the great like books for like fall and like autumn vibes. Like I don't know why like New York City just does it for me in that time, but it definitely does. Another book that I think is great for this season is Out on a Limb. This actually starts at a Halloween party, so that alone just shows that like most of the book is going to be set like in autumn, which again, I haven't read this story, but I know both characters. They meet at a Halloween party, and then I think something big happens that completely rocks their world, and so they have to kind of band together to like make just things work. And I already know the tropes in this book because they've been spoiled by people, but it does not say on the back of the book what happens. And so I don't really want to like share what ends up rocking their world. But like if you read this book, you probably know. And honestly, if you've been on Book Talk, you probably know. But I don't really like to spoil anything that's not on the back of the book if possible. So you can kind of go into it blind as well. And then another book that I really can't wait to read is Fall Into You by Caroline Frank. This literally has leaves on the front. Like it's literally giving fall. I don't know if there's anything more fall-esque than this book. It says, I've always loved being part of my family. We're Italian, which by definition means that we're completely in each other's business and sticklers for tradition. But when Matt, my brother's best friend from college, comes back into our lives looking hotter and acting sweeter than ever, my family's involvement really starts to get on my nerves. I pretty much fall for Matt from day one, so when my brother draws a firm line in the sand and forbids us from dating, it really becomes a problem for me. Being with Matt is the first thing that's made me happy since my dad's passing, and I'm not going to let my brother stand in the way of that. I guess we'll just have to keep things a secret. Fall Into You is an open door, laugh out loud romantic comedy about forbidden love and finding yourself after loss. Just looks so good. I've never read anything from this author, but it's literally giving fall because there are leaves on the front. Another book that I feel like is definitely giving fall is What a Match by Mimi Grace. I think Mimi Grace's books are so good. I've read one of her books and it was pretty spicy, so if you like those types of books, I think you will enjoy Mimi Grace's books. They're pretty fluffy, nothing too heavy, and this is the cover of this one. Again, it has fall leaves on it, which is perfect for the season. Like, hopefully you guys can see that. I just genuinely don't think that there's anything more fall than this book cover. It's just so perfect and I love it so much. It says, sometimes what you're looking for is right under your nose. Meticulous and driven, Gwen Gilmore knows what she wants, especially in a man, but the dating scene is slow and unserious, and she realizes she may need some professional help. A matchmaker, to be more specific. Nothing will distract her from finding the perfect on-paper boyfriend, except maybe her brother's grumpy best friend. Anthony Woods has had a crush on his best friend's sister since the day he met her. He's managed the unfortunate affliction by keeping his distance. However, that gets complicated when he temporarily moves into her home. As they connect and grow closer, will Gwen stick to the dating plan outlined by the professionals or admit it when it comes to love, there's no right way to fall? Looks freaking cute. And also I have to add in a book that kind of gives like nostalgic vibes. I don't know why that seemed perfect for fall to me, but What Saves Us by Maggie Gates is a book that I picked up because I've heard from Heather McClary that this book is really good. It says people you shouldn't fall in love with. Your best friend's sister, your best friend's pregnant sister, your best friend's sister after you deliver her baby, your best friend's sister when she's an exhausted, overwhelmed new mother who has to deal with her crazy baby daddy and meddling townspeople. But rules were meant to be broken. I mean, that alone is like, I'm in. I don't think I've heard a story that messy. Like, this just looks really good. So it's set in a small town. I feel like small town romances are great for this like autumn season, but also it's a single mom romance and it just looks really cute. This is the cover of this one. I'm just loving it. It's literally giving fall. So those are all of the romance books that I have on my TBR that I definitely want to read this autumn. When will I get to it? I couldn't tell you. Now let's get into the one fantasy book that I definitely want to read this autumn, and it is Reckless. Obviously, if you are big into fantasy, you probably know that this recently came out, and this is the second book to Powerless. I want to read this because I read Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and then there's like a mini novella called Powerful. I also want to read, but I'm really like excited to read this one because I feel like this one's going to be even better than Powerless. Granted, I don't know. I really don't know, but I cannot wait to read this one. I feel like it's perfect to read in autumn. And then I have 3 like thriller-ish vibe books. They're more like mystery, I guess I would say, because I feel like it's weird to say that these are thrillers when they literally are giving mystery to me. Where Sleeping Girls Lie. This is the author who wrote Ace of Spades, and it looks really good. It just came out. It says, it's like I keep stumbling into a dark room, searching for the switch to make things bright again. Sade is starting her 3rd year of high school, this time at the prestigious Alfred Nobel Academy boarding school after being homeschooled. Misfortune has been a constant companion throughout her life, but she even doesn't expect her roommate Elizabeth to disappear after her first night, or for people to think she has something to do with it. With rumors swirling around her, she catches the attention of the girls collectively known as the Unholy Trinity, and they bring her into her fold. But between learning more about them, especially Persephone, who Sade is inexplicably drawn to, and playing catch up in class. Is it Sade or like Sade? Like, I feel like I'm saying that wrong. But she already has so much on her plate. But when it seems people don't care enough about what happened to Elizabeth, it's up to her and Elizabeth's best friend to investigate. And then a student is found dead. Sade and Baz, who is Elizabeth's best friend, keep trying to figure out what's going on. She realizes there's more to Alfred Nobel Academy and students than she thought. Secrets lurk around every corner and beneath every surface, secrets that rival even her own. This looks good, and these are like the cozy mysteries that I just absolutely eat up every single autumn. And another book that looks good is The Dark Place. This is giving creepy, scary vibes. Like, I feel like this would be great for October. And it says 17-year-old Hailey Williams didn't ask to disappear. She didn't ask to move from Kansas City, Kansas out to the suburbs in Missouri, but she did disappear. And not only that, when she vanished from our world, she materialized into a dark, twisted version of the night that changed her life forever, the night her older brother went missing. Now, that's only the first paragraph, but like, it gets good. It looks like it's gonna be a really unique story. I haven't heard anyone talk about this book, which is why I love picking up books like this, because I can just like read it without anyone telling me or like spoiling the story for me before I get to it. And another book is Behind a Closed Door. This looks really good. It just came out. It said, would you kill a total stranger to save someone you love? It says, sugar and spice is the latest app craze taking the world by storm, but for Abby and Brennan, downloading it leads to a dangerous game of life and death. When the app assigns them on a series of increasingly taboo tasks, they soon find themselves caught up in a twisted web of seduction and violence in this sexually charged dark thriller. And this is supposed to be like a mix of 50 Shades and The Game. So again, more of like a mystery vibe, more of like that dystopian world where it's like there's this app, it's like telling you what to do and like crazy things happen. But it looks good. I mean, the cover of this is literally giving autumn. So hope you guys enjoy this video and all of these book recs. If you guys want me to give you a video of just like straight thriller recs, like only thrillers, I feel like a lot of people do read thrillers in autumn, let me know. These are more of like those cozy reads, those reads that are just gonna be like, like I'm so excited for fall, which I feel like is perfect for like now, you know, like that pre-fall feeling. But once we get into like the deep throes of fall, I feel like that's when everyone starts to like get into their thriller vibe or just like really get into it. So comment below if you guys want a like full thriller video and I will bring that to you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.